and on a regular basis. Fine. So I'm back. So I was taking the question that what type of question this thing CCTV footage. So is it clear with CCTV footage that CCTV footage can be can come under the purview of information under the definition of information, and indeed whatever information you are required to ask, it should relate to the interest of public at large, and it should not be exempted under section 8, or it should not come under the grounds which are there given under section 9. The next question was of Ankur Sharma. Ankur was there in the last video. I don't think that he's here, but I've just emailed him the link. So if he would have been here, fine. So I'll be taking some other question. Ankur, if you are there, so you can say hello, hi. The next question was, what if RTI not answered Priya Agrawal from Pune, which I have already answered. Fine. So Ankur is here. So Ankur, I'm answering your question that what is the meaning of notwithstanding anything contained in this act? Meaning, importance, if not, what will be the impact that if such phrase will not be used? So the first thing that this phrase, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, is being used in certain acts or in the contracts as well in order to pull out that special section out of the act. The importance of that section is much more than the rest of the act. Simply telling that if that this phrase is being used, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, then automatically that section or that provision stands out of the act, and the importance and the gravity of that section is much higher than the rest of the act. So am I clear? And obviously, if that phrase will not be used, then that section will also be a part of the act in a uniform way in which it was. So am I clear, Ankur? Is your question answered? Because this is a question which, although it is not related directly to the Right to Information Act, but it is to the whole of law subjects, that if such kind of phrase is not being used, and I just like such kind of questions. Thank you, Ankur, to ask such kind of a question, because such kind of questions that allow me to scratch my brain and to think beyond what I have been taught in the universities, beyond what I have read. So I'm really, really thankful, Ankur, for that good question. So the next question which Ankur again has asked was, can anyone apply for mains answer sheet? Mains answer sheet of any competitive exam, whether it being UPSC or PCSJ. Indeed, you can ask or you can demand the accessibility of the mains answer sheet, but again, it depends that it should not come under the exemptions. Look, what happened that fetching out the answer sheet is easy, but the thing is that whatever question you are asking, whatever information you are seeking from the PIO under the Right to Information Act should not come under Section 8, that is the exemption clause. Rest, all the information is accessible under the Right to Information Act. So what will happen to my application if I select a wrong public authority? Great. Animesh Pandey is asking a very valid question, that if he has chosen a wrong public authority, now suppose he wanted to ask a question regarding tax and he has sent that application to a certain other department, then in that case, the department to which you have sent the application, that department is liable to transfer your application to the concerned department under Section 6. जो भी एप्लीकेशन आपने फाइल की है, सपोज आपने पूछना था कि रोड का कंस्ट्रक्शन कब हुआ या कब होगा, आपको पीडब्ल्यूडी से पूछना था, आपने डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी से पूछ लिया या फिर म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन से पूछ लिया. उस कंडीशन में अगर आपने म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन को चिट्ठी भेज दी है, तो म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन आपकी चिट्ठी ट्रांसफर कर देगा पीडब्ल्यूडी को. एम आई क्लियर, अनिमेश? Most welcome, Ankur. Fine. So the next question was, what type of questions can't be asked under the Right to Information Act? Neha Verma from Bihar, Bhabua, has asked this question, that what type of questions can't be asked. I repeat that all those questions which will come under the purview of Section 8 and Section 9 are not required to be answered by the PIO, and such kind of questions are exempted and cannot be answered by the PIO. The next question. Thank you, Adarsh. Thank you so much for the appreciation. Under 6 clause 3, the PIO is bound to transfer the RTI application to the concerned PIO. Exactly, Mr. Irshad. Fine. So the next question is, can personal information be asked? This question is being asked from Noida Anurag Bakshi. Obviously, the personal information cannot be asked as it is exempted under Section 8. But if that personal information which you are seeking relates for the welfare of the public at large, or it relates to human right violation, or anything which is related to public at large majorly, then in that condition, such personal information can be asked from any PIO. Now, suppose you are asking that the certain kind of a public or public servant or some government official has a salary of 20,000, 30,000, and still he has an empire of 30 cr, then in that condition you can ask what that how he was able to build such a great or huge empire, seeking that in what condition, that in what circumstances a person who was a salaried person and who was getting a salary of around 25,000 has created an empire of 30 cr in an year. So in that condition, you can ask that person that what is your salary. Although the latest amendment got this thing changed and you are not able to ask such kind of information under Section 13, which was recently being amended, but still, if that question, if that personal information is for the welfare of people, for the welfare of public at large, then in that condition, you can definitely ask such kind of questions which are relating to personal information to any of the government official. The next question is that attendance of an employee, can an attendance of an employee being asked? Indeed, whosoever is a public servant or a government servant is working for the public, and the attendance is very important of that public servant. And in that condition, if you want to ask that whether a certain public official or a government employee is regular to his job or not, then obviously you can ask for the attendance sheet. But indeed, if he is on leave or he is not present, you cannot ask the reason that why he is not able to attend the office. You can ask for the attendance sheet because it will be a public document, but you cannot ask for the application upon the basis of which he is seeking such kind of a holiday. Exactly, this is what I was telling, that the latest amendment has exempted the tenure and salary of the central information officer and state information officer. Fine. So Ankur is having one more question. How can a citizen know if a private institution is aided by government or not? You can ask an RTI for this also. Now, suppose you are going to ask about certain NGO that whether it is aided or not. You can ask the registrar of this society registration that whether certain NGO is aided or funded by the government or not. So you can ask an RTI for this also. Animesh is asking a question. So, can we ask the government the amount of money collected? Exactly, you can ask. Definitely, you can ask, and it is a very good thing that you are asking such kind of questions, because this is what a social auditing is. We come into emotions, we fail to ask questions, and nowadays we are getting so much emotional that we are getting fans of our representatives whom we have chosen to work for us. So it is our duty to keep on asking them questions, keep on raising questions on them in a positive manner, not in a negative sense. In you, if you are asking a question, you should have faith that yes, that person will fetching you the information timely and the correct information will be given to you. And then if you feel that certain kind of information is not good, definitely you can file an appeal in the State Information Commission. Fine. So the next question is, which is from Shivam Pandey, Prayagraj. Government employee can file an RTI. Yes, every citizen can file an application under the Right to Information Act 2005, and the government employee is also a citizen of India, so he can also file an RTI application under this act. Rajat Sharma from Punjab University. Rajat has asked a very valid question, that what is the limitation period to file an RTI application? Now, this is a very technical question which was being asked by Rajat, and indeed, I had already answered him through mail, but I'm telling you all that if there would have been any kind of limitation period and you could have not been able to ask the information which is kept with Archaeological Survey of India. So indeed there is no limitation period to file an RTI application, because every citizen has the right to access the information. So generally, there is no limitation period. Mr. Irshad Dar is saying 20 years for what? If 10 lakhs ask same question, so many copies of. Okay, fine. So there is no limitation period to file an RTI application. If even if a document is there and if it is kept with the public authority, then they are liable to fetch you the information. I have been continuously filing so many RTI applications, and I've also asked questions regarding certain monuments and regarding certain things which were around 100 years back. So the public authority, if they have that kind of an information with them, then they will fetch you the information. And if they do not have, or such kind of a document has been destroyed through some accident or any situation, then in that condition, obviously you'll not get the information. But indeed, there is no limitation period to file an RTI application. Ankur has asked a question that if 10 lakh citizens ask same question, so many copies of paper are being used, can we ask paperless copy or soft copy? Indeed, you can ask for that, and for that you can file an RTI application online as well. Different public authorities have a separate tab of RTI where you can file an RTI application. But indeed, in India, even today, very few people are so much freaky and so much good at internet. So in that condition, it is really very hard. But indeed, you can go for that. You can file a public interest litigation in case you are trying to safeguard the environment, safeguard the trees. That so many trees are being cut in order to reply the right under the Right to Information Act. So indeed, you can file a public interest litigation for that, and it is a very valid point that so many paper is being used. So I am getting so many RTI replies from across India, especially for the RTI which I have recently filed and asking these SCRB. I am getting the applications or the answers in those papers which are already being used by those departments. The envelopes which they are sending are recycled. So that is something which I really liked about the police officials, because they are sending me the reply to the RTI application which I have recently filed, and they are sending me the application reply in the envelopes which are being recycled. So that is something good. So we can also go for that, suggesting the CIC or the SIC that the envelopes should be made of recycled paper, or we can use the rough papers in replying the RTI. So we can go for that also. Sir, can RTI be replied by mail? Indeed. Deepu Shukla has asked a question that can RTI be replied by mail? Indeed, because during this lockdown period, I am getting calls from circle officers and from SSP as well, that can they send me the reply to the application which I have filed via email. So indeed, yes, the purpose of the act is to fetch you the information in any manner. It is not that you are just required to get the information in paper. The sole purpose is that you should get the information either through email or through WhatsApp message or anything. Because recently, it is also a new judgment, latest judgment by the Consumer Protection Courts, that a legal notice can be sent through WhatsApp in PDF form. So indeed, the replies to the RTI applications can be sent through WhatsApp. And the government should also think on this thing, that WhatsApp can be a very good carrier to send the application to the PIO. the government can give WhatsApp number of the public information officers so that we can send the RTI application to them, and they can reply us back through WhatsApp, or a different mobile app can be created for the RTI thing as well. Irshad Dar has asked a question again, sir. If a contractor constructed a government hospital and the total amount which was released for the construction of the said hospital and the government is released 86 lakhs, how much profit contractor can take from the above amount which I mentioned? Okay, fine. So that depends upon the state. That depends upon the tender which was being passed. What happens that if any contractor got a tender, then he is getting the tender through bid, and there are certain terms and conditions of every tender of every bid. So that is not something which is uniform. Indeed, separate different states can have different ratios or different percentage or different commissions, but indeed it totally depend upon the agreement and the terms which were being signed between the contractor and the government. Ankur Sharma is asking that can an RTI be used as an evidence in any case, and which party will have the burden of proof as per its validity? Great. So yes, indeed, it can be used as an evidence under the Indian Evidence Act because it will be a public document, and all the information which has been given to you is from the source of that information is public documents only. So the RTI application can be used in form of evidence, but it will be a corroborative evidence or not the primary evidence. Your second question is that which party will be liable and on whom the burden of proof will lie. Obviously, if you are going to the court, taking that application or taking the answer of that application, then firstly, the burden of proof will lie on you, that you should prove that you have asked such and such question under the Right to Information Act and you have got the information through the correct public authority. So firstly, the burden of proof will lie on you, and then automatically the basic principle of burden of proof will prevail, and the burden of proof will shift to the other party. Kashi Shukla, sir, if we talk about the level of political pressure and corruption at every stage in our country, can we consider RTI transparent, corruption-free method? Definitely, Ms. Kashi, you are very, very right that indeed the purpose of Right to Information Act was this only, that the transparency in the public authority should be created. And apart from transparency, the level of corruption should be mitigated and should be aborted. But indeed, there is a very big problem in filing of an RTI application as well. Many of the RTI activists are being killed. So, what generally intellects are discussing these days that RTI Act can be of much more power if the Whistleblower Act 2011 will be passed by the legislature, if it is being passed by the Parliament of India. So, if Right to Information Act 2005 is being joined with Whistleblower Act 2011, then in that condition, that will give more strength to the Right to Information Act and the Right to Information activists. The RTI activists will not get or will not get such kind of results that they should lose their life if they are working for the public welfare. Thank you so much, Irshad. Can I file an RTI application against them? Yes, indeed. Indeed, Mr. Irshad, you can file an RTI application against them. And if you want my help, you can send me the draft. I will correct, or we can discuss over it and you can then file the RTI application. Mr. Rajat has asked the fees for all RTIs is 10 rupees. Indeed, generally the fees is 10 rupees. But if you're asking for certain documents apart from the information, then the fee is 2 rupees per page. In certain universities, when you are trying to ask the accessibility to the this answer sheets, then they are 300 rupees. So that is different in different states. But generally, the uniform fee is 10 rupees only. Whatsoever question you are willing to ask, you can ask the government officials. Okay, fine. So Mr. Prasoon wants my opinion on amendment of 2019. Indeed, what I feel that such kind of information, which is, although it is a kind of a private information, but indeed such kind of information should not have been exempted under the Right to Information Act, because somewhere it is the money of the taxpayers which is being given to the people who are public officials. So indeed, if we are giving any kind of a money, any penny to the government, so I, being a citizen of India, should know that where my money is going. Fine. So Rishad say below power line. Yes, indeed, the people who are BPL, they are not required to pay any kind of fee. Thank you, Rishad, for adding such kind of information to this webinar. Can we ask a copy of evidence? No. What kind of copy of evidence you are asking in this question? If are you asking for certain kind of secondary evidence or certain kind of primary evidences? Ankur. Fine. So I've answered all the questions which I got through email. So anyone still want to ask any question? Okay, fine. So you are asking for certain kind of secondary evidence in the form of photocopy or Xerox of the primary evidence which was being filed in any kind of a suit. Indeed, if that suit or that proceeding is over and the final judgment is out, then you can fetch that whole file, and in that condition, that file after that case has been resolved becomes a public document. But the arbitration proceedings are not public document because it is a kind of private dispute redressal mechanism, and you cannot fetch the information which was or information or any kind of evidences which was being produced in the arbitration proceeding. Although Indian Evidence Act does not apply on the arbitration thing, but indeed still there are certain kind of documents on which the arbitrator also depend. So, any more questions which you would like to ask? I really hope that you are enjoying this session, and I really hope that you really enjoyed the course. And there are some more courses which you can take by calling Riddhi Legal. Thank you, Mr. Prasoon. I'm glad that you all are giving so much, such good feedbacks, and I'm really very happy. I'm sometimes I get overwhelmed and emotional that yes, things which I'm trying, those things are giving results. That yes, such kind of courses are required, and I am really trying very hard to provide the best and the correct knowledge to all, and that is why I'm live, because whatever I study, whatever I read that so that I can just spread the knowledge of law among the society. And I request you all that kind. I will share the form again, that Right to Information Act form with you all. Please, please, please forward that form. And this time around 155 people have participated. I wish that next time this number should be doubled, and it should be around 350, 360, 400 people should participate in this session. Fine. So I'm getting some more questions. Sorry. Can we ask MLA grants used? Exactly, you can ask Mr. Rajat. You can ask anything from the MLA, that from where he is getting the funds, what kind of funds he is getting, whether he's getting the funds from the Consolidated Fund of India or from the Consolidated Funds of the state. Plus, you can also ask the MLA that in what situations or in what purposes he is using that kind of fund. Oh, Mr. Nasir has not enjoyed much because of low internet connection prevailing in Kashmir. Thank you so much, Ankur. Thank you for the feedback. Irshad is asking, can I file an RTA application? How many cases of rape? Definitely, you can ask. And indeed, not only for 1 year, you can ask for last 10 years, last 5 years as well. Yes, Deepu, I'll have some water right now just after the session. Any more questions? And I would request all of you to kindly give your feedbacks through email as well. I'll keep that record as a record. Although I'll not appoint a public information officer for that, but indeed I will keep that as a record. Thank you so much, Kriti. Okay, then. Okay, fine. I'm getting one more question. State government has made a provision that 1 year information can only be asked in 1 year. Is it valid? Indeed, it is. And look, if any kind of amendment is there and if violates the preamble or the purpose of the act, then obviously it is violative of law. But we should not take such kind of amendments into consideration while filing an application. Your duty is to file an application, and in certain cases, if it is so, then in that condition, if you're not satisfied with the judgment or the decision of the public information officer, then definitely you can go to the State Information Commission. Definitely, Ankur, I'll do that, and I'll do that immediately after this session. I'll start going through all the applications which you have sent to me. Okay, fine. So that was really very great communicating and talking to all of you. Thank you all for attending this session. Please do not forget to subscribe the channel. Do watch other videos as well. We are having many kind of playlists and some certain kind of sessions, academic sessions regarding Evidence Act, regarding the revision. So we have certain kind of landmark judgments in our videos. So please do watch those and do not forget to comment your feedbacks there. Okay then, thank you all. Bye bye. Irshad says you deserve, sir. It was great to us to share our thoughts and ideas with each other. Thank you so much, Irshad. I'm really overwhelmed and I'm really much obliged. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Prasoon. Thank you. Definitely, I'll be always there. Always there. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.